Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Sunday with Jay Barsky. This episode's guest is online mobility coach Matt Martin. You'll hear us talk about some strategies in gaining back your youth, the benefits of fasting, and much more. So, with that being said, I hope you enjoy your Sunday with Matt Martin. Matt Martin, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing pretty good today. How's your day going?
It's going well. I'm glad we talked a little bit off before we kind of started this. You mentioned that you're located in Miami Beach and talked a little bit about as far as I know, it's called the Miami Ruck Club, which kind of that's how I found out about you in regards to like a big, I think it was a 5K that was going on or a running K. So, what's your involvement with them?
So with them, they started it. I came in with them, and it's all about taking the stresses of what you deal with on a daily basis, putting it in the ruck, and getting together as a community, and we carry that together. You know, because a lot of people we focus on the physical health, but we don't focus really on the mental health. So it's very important that we dive deeper into that together rather than just one by one. You have more people around you to help you, then it just feels, I guess you could say, more safe.
So, are you a board member or do you like help set events to them or I'm just
I'm
curious to, like, what's your
one of
position?
the I'm one of the trainers that are helping with the individuals. Let's say someone falls behind, and they're either gonna pass out or they just have to go at a slower pace. Or when we do each stop, we'll do different exercises. Building up. Like let's say, because I'm a mobility and strength coach, so I'll make sure that people prevent themselves from getting injured, things like that.
I saw, like, from how I found out about it was through a 5K. So do they usually do just 5Ks or is there, like, other kind of events that they have going on?
It's usually I believe it's about a 5K, maybe a little bit shorter sometimes, depending on, how tough the terrain is, you know, things like that. But I'm pretty sure there's gonna be more, different paces, whether maybe 5K or a little bit more, a little bit under, but it's always in a safe range for everyone. So say someone like our parents wanted to go out there, or grandparents, and get into it, we'll be able to make sure that they have a safe and effective time when it comes to rucking with us.
And I think that's cool that you are involved with an event like that, and when I was doing, like, my research in preparation for this interview, I've heard, like, a couple of times you mentioned before about swelling in the ankles, and this has been an issue that I've had for a while back, and I think it was just like me walking around barefoot a lot in the sand. But you talked about walking backwards would like really actually help with that. And I actually started doing that. And I mean, not sure the reason of how, and you can explain this better about this, but I started walking backwards, like at the gym when on the treadmill, like I do like 10 minutes like, walking, but then the final 5 minutes I do it backwards. And I noticed my ankles have been feeling a little bit better. So, how did you find about this walking backwards and helping in that issue?
Usually for me, I find these things out through movement, like through my own movement, and then I'll research it because I'm more of like I guess you could say kinetic. So I feel things out, and then from there I go into reading about it, figuring out what's what. I look at it basically like this when I break it down. It's the fact that we're always walking in one direction, forward, right?
Mhm.
Walk backwards, never walk sideways, never at an angle. But then, lo and behold, you roll your ankle doing something so basic. So it's like you need to be able to move in all directions. And then I notice it takes your anterior, which is the front, and it makes it feel like your posterior is the anterior, which is the backside. It's like it flips it. So it's like in your mind, you're building up different neurological pathways, which will help you stabilize a lot better moving in different directions, and build that balance as well.
Yeah, and there's it was that issue I noticed you mentioned a lot, and also knees, like helping the knees. So are these issues that you've had personally and that you kind of did your own research and kind of practice yourself on how to prevent any injuries or just trying to, I guess, heal it or make it better?
Yeah, so I've injured both my knees before, both my shoulders, my elbows, my neck, my spine. So I've had to go through this myself,
Mhm.
go through just about every joint, from the ankles, even some of my toes and some of my fingers as well. So yeah, I had to go through a lot of this, you know, it's one thing to read about it, it's another thing to do it yourself. And not just do it on other people, but do it on yourself and then do it on other people.
Mm. So are there any specific resources that kind of help when you do your research, certain podcast or I don't know, certain research guides that you kind of follow that help you with you doing your research?
What started me, I would say, would be these 3 books is one's Anatomy Trains, another one is Desk Bound, and then the other one is True to Form. Those are 3 that really helped me, you know, figure out which ways to go because there's so much information out there, and you can just one thing will tell you that walking backwards is good for you, one thing will tell you it's bad for you. So it's like you have to just pick
Mhm.
based off of knowledge that you believe that you've went through yourself, you know? So, it is what it is.
You mentioned you're a mobility coach, so how did you kind of lead yourself into that path as a career?
Well, I've been into fitness my whole life, and I always said I wanted to take people's pain away or want to help them relinquish their pain or relieve their pain. So, that's and I came into so many injuries, like I was telling you. So from there, I was like, why not? It'll help me help other people because I need to help myself first, for one, and then we could take it to the next level and help other people.
Do you have like a target as a like specific clients that are like perfect that would be perfect for you? Is it maybe people I'm 37, so maybe like someone my age range that might be having some mobility issues, or are you trying to maybe do you generally have people younger that kind of go to you for your services?
I would say people that are 30, 35 plus, depending on how often they move, because let's say somebody didn't even really move around in high school, like they just didn't bring their gym clothes or whatever it was, and they didn't move around much. Now, we're made of mainly water, and if you're stagnant, things are going to build up. You go from a river to a stream into a pond, and now that pond has a bunch of algae and debris, and that's your scar tissue and their disease. So obviously, we need to stay moving around. So I would say between 30 to 35 plus, and then from there, it really depends on how little whoever it is that moves. People that are in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, 70s, and even 80s, those would be more ideal just because of the fact that, you know, usually as we grow in age, we're not moving as much as we should or as much as we used to. Like the doctor tells us to just, just make sure you rest it and don't move around too much. And next thing you know, we're not moving around at all. So what you really want to do is make sure you're moving in the range where you feel no pain and then go from there.
So are you at any point when you're and I only say this for myself because I do try to be as mobile as I can. Like I can't really just the only time I really sit down and like not do anything is if I meditate or watch a movie and like my body has to be like, super tired from things I do, whether it's the gym or I do like a volunteer work and I do like labor. I volunteer at a farm and all that stuff. Is there anything that you do once your body's not able to be mobile anymore? What do you do at that point?
Stretch or I'll just lay down. You got to give yourself that rest. You can't
Yeah.
just. You can't just be going and going and going and going every day all the time.
You mentioned stretching, and like I've heard you mention stretching in your interviews, and I know because I go to the gym at least 3 times a week, maybe sometimes four, or I'll do some other stuff. And I just noticed at the gym, people rush to the weights. Like the first thing I do when I go to the gym is stretch. I've always done that. I've always been taught like to stretch, like from ever since I started going to this like gym. And you talk about stretching early, first thing, but I always find it so crazy that people just rush to the weights and they do not stretch at all. And I can't do that. Like, I'm too afraid that my body might like, hurt myself if I don't stretch before I work out.
Yeah, some people, or most people, I guess you could say, they don't understand the importance of stretching, but then a lot of times you get hurt, and then you realize. Sometimes some people still don't realize actually, but
Mm,
sometimes they do, and it's just one of those things you have to go through to grow through.
right.
Because if you don't go through it, you're just gonna be like, it's whatever. I'll stretch afterwards, and then you don't anyway, and then you compound that day after day.
So, as a personal trainer, do you also advise people on their diet and what they eat? Because, like, from what I understand, I don't know if you're still doing it, but you actually are a vegetarian. So, is this something that you kind of teach your clients, or you kind of just teach them eating meat as well as eating non-meat?
Well, I did that for about 3 months now. I did eat meat like what, 2 days ago or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, what I'm gonna do now is because I wanted to go a year, but then like I started doing these competitions, and I have to go through this transition period first. So it's like my body just feels weird, and I'm not looking to do that right now while I'm doing these competitions. So I'm gonna have to put that off to the side. But I'm not even eating that much meat, really. I guess you could say I'm eating eggs now because I wasn't eating eggs before either.
Hmm.
Two, every now and then I'll have some. I think I had chicken. I'm gonna have chicken, and then probably some fish. That's about it.
Do you teach your clients about fasting? Because I've heard you mention about the importance of fasting as well.
Yeah, I teach them about fasting and about how after anywhere from 17 to 18 hours, autophagy kicks in. That's when your body's starting to clean up, all the dead cells. Basically, like the janitors come out and it cleans up all the toxins. But we don't have that ability until after we're not eating and we're just, focused on what's in the body that's not perfect.
So, when you're fasting in the morning, do you drink water, or do you have like, at least something like a little snack to get you to the meal, or is it just nothing?
It's just water with sea salt, water with Celtic or Himalayan sea salt.
So, what's the benefits of having water with sea salt versus without the sea salt?
So it gives you the electrolytes that you need. I know a lot of people say like salt isn't good for you, but it's not that type of salt. It's not the iodine salt, the salt that clogs your arteries. It's more of the salt that gives you the electrolytes that you need to sustain, the energy and basically you running at a regular function that you believe is regular for you. Because I know you've been through those times when you just feel so tired, and it's like, why do I feel so tired? It's like, yeah, because you're exhausted, you're not hydrated. A lot
Hmm.
of times when you're tired, you could just be dehydrated.
And something else I know about you is that you stop. I don't know, like you mentioned that you're preparing for some competition. So, are you but you stop lifting weights, like, you kinda just focus on calisthenics. Is that still what you're doing as for your training?
Yeah, for the most part, that's the only time I would, like, lift a weight or whatever is if I'm doing some type of video with someone, just for social media purposes, but, for the most part, I don't necessarily promote it, lifting weights. I'm not against it either.
Mhm.
I may go back to it soon maybe sooner than later. Who knows? Because the reason why I stopped in the first place was because I kept getting injured. So I chose to stop because I knew I was going to continue doing the commercial way, the conventional commercial way. And that's the way that where you get hurt, for the most part, rather than doing it in a functional manner. So I just learned the functional stuff first and then got to the point where I can actually use the weights, which is now. So, we'll see.
Are there like lower body exercises for calisthenics?
Yeah, like single leg squats,
Okay.
things of that nature. I do a lot of time on tension, which is like where you're slowly going down. Let's say it's like 10 seconds going down, 10-second hold at the bottom, 10 seconds coming up. It'll recruit the large muscle fibers deeper in the body.
And do you do any like, outdoor training as well in addition to your calisthenics?
Well, I'm usually always training, not usually always. A lot of times I'm training over at Muscle Beach or maybe at Anatomy or at Megalith Fitness in Midtown.
I saw that you have something about like a pain relief call that people can book with you. So can you explain what that's about?
So that is for individuals that are ready to, rid their pain, relinquish whatever it is they're going through. I know tons of people that deal with back pain and they feel that, it just comes with age, but it comes with lack of movement, like we were talking about earlier.
Hmm.
So, when we get on the call, we see if we're a good fit for each other, see if I can help you. Some people say they want help or they say they want to do it, but they don't necessarily want it.
Yeah.
So, this is really for those people that are looking to change their life and relinquish that pain for good. If you look at some of the testimonials, like with the individual David, he was 64 when I met him, and he wanted to do the type of stuff that I'm doing. And now he's about to be 70 years old in January, or 70 years of age, because he can do stuff that 20-year-olds can't do now. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to help individuals, you know, gain back some of that youth.
I think about this is probably like several years ago. And I've always had like back issues going through high school, and I always just kind of learned how to manage it along the way, and just I realized that I can't let go too much crazy with the weights. But then I just discovered like being more flexible, like stuff like yoga and stuff like that would help out. But like at one point, I was just kind of not managing right. My headspace wasn't really right, and I just wasn't doing right at the gym. Just really just lifting heavy weights. And I think this is when around the time when I hit 30 or a little after 30, and I suffer sciatic nerve pain like to the fullest. And
Mhm.
it's crazy that they always recommend if you go to like a clinician, they'll recommend like a steroid shot or stuff like that. And they don't really recommend like stuff that would help you, that would really help you as in being just more mobile and like not just like lifting weights, but like yoga and stretching and just like simple things like walking all the time. And but it seemed like just people were like, quick for like, medicine or something to heal it. And it's just once I started realizing I just need to be like more out, what kind of led me to be more outdoors and led me to being more like a yoga. And I end up getting a yoga certification. I ended up not teaching it, but I went through the schooling just so I can like learn for practice myself, just
Yeah,
be better at it. But like that kind of stuff just really helped me heal my back pain.
yeah, I completely understand. It's good to learn these things firsthand, rather than just. I mean, it's cool to go to a class as well. That's
Hmm.
but I would recommend getting like a mobility certification or something like that as well. Just to tie those two together, it would be very eye opening and beneficial.
I know that you had the kind of step by step health transformation plan. So can you give an example of what that looks like?
So it starts with, mobility, and then there is you're talking about the ebook, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so there's some mobility exercises in there. There's things when it comes to food. It's a well-rounded, well-balanced situation. And then I give you some tips on like what to eat, when to eat, how to eat. We just put everything together and just eat it, and we're like, oh, I'll just I'll just let everything just happen. When
Hmm.
realistically, if you can understand things you should eat together, things you should separate, and just exactly what direction to go in when it comes to exercises and movement, how to move properly from the beginning, not just getting it to a certain size or looking a certain way. You want to feel a certain way first. So learning how to move properly is very important. So that's the majority of what's in there.
Does your personal coaching, is it usually online or do you do it in person as well?
I do both, in person and online. I'm moving more towards online now, for because so I can be able to help more people and be able to have more freedom in where I need to be or don't need to be, I guess you could say.
From what I've seen that you posted, like you kind of just work out alongside with your clients. Is that right?
For the most part, yeah, I work out alongside them, or depending on what I have to do. Like if I have some sort of workout later on in the day, then I'll just let them do it.
So fitness is really a big part of my life. I find it like a good stress reliever, especially if I've had a rough day at work. I always feel like going to the gym. I love my best time to go to the gym is first thing in the morning, but I work early in the morning, so I go after. But it's just I always feel good like going to the gym. And I feel like it's a not only a stress reliever, but it also prevents stress happening to me. So I always ask my guests if there's something that they do to relieve stress or stuff that they do to like kind of prevent stress happening. So is there anything that you kind of do in order to practicing relieving stress for yourself?
Well, the biggest one, luckily for me, I get to walk on the beach. So I'll just go for a walk, by the water, or whether it's meditation or like, fitness as well, doing a workout, getting those endorphins released into the brain. So those are my big ones.
And what's your like meditation practice look like? Is this something you try to do once throughout the day, once in the morning and in evening? How long? Like maybe a 10-minute meditation? How does that look like?
Yeah, there'll be different ones. One might be a walking meditation with like some sort of mantra. One might be just breath work, sitting there focusing on my breath. One could be uh, with a group of individuals and us talking about something, then, you know, meditating on it, just focusing on it. Meditation could be many different things.
And do you have any kind of special routines or rituals that you kind of follow throughout your day or your week that you think our listeners would be able to benefit from hearing?
Honestly, I would just say continue to move. Like, don't, even the days you feel sore from exercising, like, let's say you have a crazy leg day, you're not going to lay in bed all day because the next day after that, you're going to be in more pain. So, no, just move around a little bit. Park a little bit further away from whatever store it is, or take the steps, because one day you're gonna wish you could take the steps, and you'd rather not have that than, you know I would rather not know what it's like to not be able to walk up and down the steps than, have it and then lose it because I didn't know what I had. And it sounds so simple, but, I know a lot of people that are just immobile, or maybe they gain too much weight, so now they can't They can't get up and down the steps. I had a lady I created a seated workout plan for. Remember in the first month, she had lost about 13 pounds.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so and she said her knees felt a little bit better too. Like she could just about get up, because for 1 pound, I forgot how many pounds of pressure it is on your knees. I seen, I gotta get the correct number. I seen four somewhere, somewhere I seen seven, but it's more than one. I'll tell you that. So let's just say it's two, right? That's
Mhm.
more than 6 pounds of pressure on your knees.
And do you have any practice yourself that you can that help motivate you for yourself that you can recommend for our listeners?
Yeah, really. The when you're having, say, when you're having a good day or bad day, you want to sit back and pick three new things every day that you are you have gratitude for.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, every day you're not gonna be like, oh, my family, my job, my this and the third. It might be like today, someone called me that I haven't talked to in a long time, and I really appreciate that. Or this person paid for my lunch. I didn't even know them. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Or a friend paid for it, and you were low on money. So there's so many things to have gratitude for. You know, just focusing on that. We need to change our default mechanism. Too many of us are focused on the negative things. It's so easy to point out the negative things,
Yeah.
but it's like for some reason, it's not so easy to point out all the positive things. And why is that? That's because that's just the way we're wired. So we need to rewire ourselves.
That's great. And I always one thing that I always say it's like pretty common that I'm always thankful for is just being in good health. Like I'm in healthcare. It's my like profession. And so like I just see a lot of, people in bad health. And it always just makes even like sometimes it's usually like older people, but sometimes I'll come across people around my age or younger just in bad health. And I
Yeah.
always would say like, and that's what kind of makes me okay. And especially at my age, it's like kind of now or never. Like, I really need to like I focus on my health. Like I can't kind of stop because it's gonna long term wise, it's gonna affect me. I'm not, a spring chicken, so I can't like get away with not taking a break anymore.
Just gotta detox, get all those toxins out of your body. Like, let's say, all right, so you said 37. So imagine you have at least 35 years of toxins in your body and some residue left over, and it hasn't been cleaned out of your arteries and whatnot. So think about clearing that out so that you can biologically be a little bit younger, you know,
When you say clearing that out, do you mean just like
like
over time?
detoxing
Uh-huh.
or fasting or both actually, because sometimes like the body can heal itself, but at times it may need assistance through natural herbs.
Mhm.
That's why people use natural herbs. So, and then from there, because I noticed in 2023, I did a whole bunch of in season fruit fasting. So, whatever the season was, I would eat that fruit.
Okay.
Just that fruit for like, it was like 2 month period where like 3 days, say it was like mangoes.
Mhm.
I would eat mangoes for 3 days straight and then slowly get back to regular food and then watermelon and then slowly get back to regular food. I would do that for months on end. And I noticed that my body was running more efficiently. I was like, wow, like, I didn't, it's one thing you read about it, but it's another thing to really feel it mentally and just all throughout your body, feeling rejuvenated.
Is there any specific fruit that you kind of like like I don't not say recommend, but that you found most beneficial when you kind of just ate that
Y-
fruit?
I would say it's probably the watermelon because of the black seeds. It has a lot of iron and many other minerals that your body needs. So it's like if you wanna, but only in season though, not like in the winter and like now it's basically the end of the season.
Okay.
So it's just mainly in summer. Always look up where you live at. Look up what fruit are in season and mainly eat those.
Are you working on anything that our viewers should watch out for that's coming up?
Most definitely. So I'm working on this Bye Bye Back Pain Relief ebook. I want to make sure it's a 21-day challenge, and I want people to be excited about relinquishing their back pain and getting rid of this, not just like it's another task for their day. So there's some webinars coming up as well. So stay tuned for that. And just gonna relieve back pain one person at a time. This is something I'm really excited about because think about like how many hours a day do you sit down?
I mean, I try not to sit down that much, but I'd say like really 5, 6 hours.
All right, so if you sit longer than 4 hours a day, then you probably have tight hips, right?
Mhm.
So, and if you can't do a split, then you probably have tight hips.
Mhm.
So it's like, because at least we're not using the full range in which it's capable, because we can see some people have it, some people don't. So this will help you gain that back, and especially for men, because when you open up your hips, it helps loosen up the back as well. And for men, if you have tight hips, you're more susceptible to having erectile dysfunction, and no
Mhm.
man wants that. So
Right.
and on top of that, that's the one they normally listen to. But the other one, which is actually more important, which will help prevent that one, is when you have tight hips, you can't absorb nutrients properly. So no matter how healthy you eat, you're not absorbing all of the nutrients. You know,
Mhm.
so just yeah, little things like that. But that's coming soon. And that's something that want everybody to look forward to. It'll be about a week. Remember, make sure you guys get lit. This this drink here, it's there was a mom that she always looks at the ingredients, right, on everything because she has kids. So, it's what you should do. We shouldn't really have to, but she does. And she wanted a way to hydrate her kids because they do jujitsu and she couldn't find anything on the market. So she created it. This is a hydration drink.
Mhm.
It's coconut based. There's other ones. There is orange here, and then there is watermelon here. Uh, Watermelon right here.
Oh, nice.
It's melon me crazy and crushed it is the orange. So if you guys are interested in that, just click the link in the bio on my Instagram. It's Hey Coach Matt, and right there.
Before we conclude, do you have any final thoughts you wanna leave with our viewers?
Know that age is just a number if you allow it to be. That's one thing that the individual David, who's going to be 70 in January, he told me that I taught him. And mind you, I'm going to be 33 on 11/11.
Mhm.
So it's that age was just a number, and it really spoke to me because it's like, wow, an individual who's twice my age is telling me that I taught them that. So always be open minded, always
Yeah.
listen to those around you. You never know, you can learn something from someone that's younger than you. It doesn't matter.
Right.
All come from different walks of life, you know. So always be open minded and know that it's never too late. Whether it's your mental health, your back pain, your hip pain, your knee pain, the sciatic pain that you have shooting up your back or down your leg. You don't need surgery for that. Most of the time, you don't need surgery. A lot of
Yeah.
times, you need to figure out the proper movements and to do them consistently, and how to nourish your body, and then things will pan out. Otherwise, you're gonna get the surgery. You might be worse.
Yeah.
Like for instance, like unfortunately, like with I think Ozzy Osbourne, he had gotten that surgery, that back surgery, and he says he wishes he never got that.
Mm.
And he was like, I could tell that I'm dying because now when your spine doesn't have all the or let's say you squeeze a straw, right, and you try to drink through a straw.
Mhm.
That scar tissue in your spine, that it's just like that. So it takes more energy for the for electricity to flow through the body.
Right.
So now getting a surgery and them not doing it properly, causes other ailments because the body's immaculate at compensating. I'm pretty sure we all have some sort of ailment in our body, and our body right now is getting rid of it. As long as we're moving around and, having positive thoughts and you don't have that cortisol streaming through your blood and, just taking it easy. So always be mindful of those things.
Taking it easy. I like that. Uh, Matt Martin, I thank you so much. I appreciate you joining me and talking about a little about what you do. And I think our viewers would definitely benefit from your services and just things that they've kind of learned through fitness and just through mobility. But thank you so much for joining me on Someday with Jay Barsky.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me.
Thanks for listening to our episode with Matt Martin. Follow him on all his socials, which you may find in the episode notes. I hope you enjoyed our episode. Please rate and comment on the podcast to help make it grow. If you wish to follow me, all my socials are at I am Jay Barsky. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you soon.